Welcome to our podcast, coming out of the media gang. Stories from the sidelines. Really trying to give a voice to some of the unsung heroes of tournament paintball. A couple of our friends, refs, media people, commentators like yourself, league owners, anybody that really has a story that people don't really hear too much about, and that really make tournament paintball what it is. And without them, like it wouldn't be where it is now. Nick, super happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much. This is pretty big for us. Just so you know that you are guest number two. Um,
Woo!
yeah, so you made it into the starting five, bud.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, this podcast is a little bit more focused on all those guys. So I mean, you're a commentator now. I mean, you've been doing it for a little while now. So I was wondering, how did you get into it? Who gave you the opportunity, and like, why did they come to you? Like, what did you bring to the table comparatively to like some of the other pro players that are out there?
Well, that's a lot. So I don't remember. It was either 2007 or 2008 World Cup, and Die PBA hadn't started yet. I don't even know if there was actually a name for the. Good job, baby. Go to sleep. I love you. I know you do. You leave it out here so you can come out of your room when you're supposed to be sleeping. Anyway, Maddie and Patrick Spohr and Matt Marshall and Darren Sisenya and Dave Dahan or Youngblood of Die had put a lot into creating a webcast and a World Cup. And I think it was 2008. They were really debuting it, and Maddie was looking for people to help commentate. You know, it's one of those things where when you sit down to commentate and you could see yourself on camera and you have to talk about things, I think it could be intimidating to a lot of people. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing back then.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, it's
Maddie
public
was like,
speaking.
yeah. So Maddie was like, "Hey, you want to come do this?" And what kind of led to that is because Aftershock was the dominant team in 2008. We won everything.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't win anything. It was terrible. We were horrible. Maddie had asked me to help out in the webcast to be one of the first kill counters. And so years ago, a while ago, 12 years ago, there was on the pit side of the pro pits, there was a tower that stats crew and other people, the NXL refs would be in, like the true pro NXL division would be in. And so I sat up there and I would actually count kills on the Dorito side. And I would radio that information into Maddie for stuff that I can confirm. It's in your bed. Go look for it. You'll find it. It's okay. Stay in school. Don't do drugs and have kids when you're ready, folks. So in doing that and doing the confirmed kills for Maddie and Pat, he's like, "Hey, you want to come up and do a game?" And I was like, "Sure." And the thing that was really cool about that is when I was asked to really focus on getting confirmed kills, like that's the one thing that Pat and Maddie really like, "Hey man, we don't want you to guess. We don't want you to, play favorites. We want you to really verify those confirmed kills." And it was awesome because I really was like, man, I want to do a good job. And it really, as a pro player and as a, someone who was knocked out of the tournament and trying to stay as positive as possible.
Yeah.
Like, man, these are the teams that I have to beat. These are the individuals I have to beat. So I really tried to pay a lot of attention to how guys were playing and what they were doing in that layout because we failed at it. And so it gave me something to talk about when I got to go do the webcast with him for the first time. And, he was like, "Hey man, you did great. Would you ever want to do this again?" And I was like, "Sure." And so PB Access, PBA evolves into what it becomes in the PSP. And Maddie's just like, "Hey, whenever you have free time, you want to come up here and do it." And I didn't really have too many commitments back then to do anything else. So I would go up there and do a couple games every now and again. Fast forward to 2014, 2015, it becomes part of my job requirement in working for GI because of what Richmond had put money into and it created Go Sports. And so those were kind of linked with Richmond being an owner and of Go Sports and still involved in GI. And so I just did both. And so I would do stuff for Go Sports and commentate. And then that would just be the thing where I would go, oh, kids.
No worries.
That's just one of those things where I would do the webcast. Oh, you found it. Oh, that was easy. Oh, I walked up 5 feet. You found it. Good job. But that's how that kind of evolved, where Maddie was like, hey, you're good. It was really easy to do stuff with, get Todd involved, because those two have such a dynamic relationship. Mm-hmm. And Todd is very, very good at what he does. And so is Maddie. So just to build up that relationship, and it was just easy to bounce back and forth. I don't know if I'm going too far.
No, this is perfect. Good. This is honestly, this is fantastic.
Tell me to shut up.
No. Definitely not. I mean, you're talking about, it becomes your job, part of your job requirement, working at GI. I didn't know the connection between GI and Go Sports, and now it makes a lot of sense. But I mean, like, as your job description, and now, I mean, you play pro, you've been playing pro for a while. Like, how do you balance that out? Like, especially going into Vegas, like, you guys made finals, you won. Like, I can only assume it's kind of tough. Just like, guys, I can't work the booth. I need to get ready for matches.
So, well, yeah, that's a great question, because a lot for me has changed in my job in the last year and a half. So I moved to Florida in 2018 in April. Was still doing the Go Sports stuff. A lot of my responsibilities when I moved here was for Go Sports in content creation, in creating stuff and preparing for the webcast, and going and doing regional stuff, going to the MSXL, the USXBL, the MVPS. A lot of my day-to-day stuff was Go Sports. Gotcha. And the thing that really helped out immensely with that was being able to secure Maddie, just to be part of that whole thing. If you want to go back even farther, Richmond was in a position, along with the rest of the owners of the NXL, when it went from the PSP to the NXL. PBA was an awesome structured platform for the webcast, and that kind of all disappeared overnight, or within the span of a few months. And then the NXL had to create their own webcast because that was the norm. So the lucky part there was that Matty lives and breathes that stuff. He knows and tells the stories better than anyone else, and he keeps the stats. Like he's the biggest person to push those, and he keeps them himself, and he knows them like the back of his hand, which is crazy. So without Matty, it'd be really hard to do. But moving forward in time, there were times where, for Go Sports, show up to the events early. Like, I essentially would go straight from practice on X Factor, on Shock, or from Shock to X Factor, and even 187, go straight to the event. So I would get in, I would leave Sunday night from wherever I was practicing, fly to the event, help set up the rest of the week, play paintball. When I wasn't playing paintball, I would do the webcast. Then I would go meet the team, spend the night with the team, have the team meeting, wake up super early because I had to be there at the field for the first game, stay at the field all day. And then, the one thing that people don't see is, as soon as the tournament's over, and this goes for not just for Go Sports, but for, the rest of the NXL itself, it's immediate teardown mode. Like, you're taking everything down. Like, all the wires that are down, all the camera cables, everything has to be cleaned, has to be wrapped up, has to be put away. And everything that it took us, 5-6 days to set up, comes down in like one night and the next morning. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, Sam and I we're both doing media things, so I mean, we're there at the crack of dawn to the very end. I'm friends with Braden. He does like the infrastructure and security and stuff. Cool guy. But yeah, like, I see him like at the end of Sunday. He goes like, dude, like, not right now. There's so many things that I need to start doing, and because I want to go home.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But if you you fast forward now to the beginning of this year, into the end of last year into this year, Billy Saransky, the president of GI, came over and was like, "Hey man, who pays you?" And I was like, "GI." He's like, "You need to get over here to our side of the building and stop doing Go Sports stuff." So I did maybe in Vegas, I maybe did like 10 minutes at the end of a game on, I think it was Friday night, when we're waiting to play our game against Revo when it got super dark.
Yeah.
But I'm no longer part of Go Sports. I don't go in early to set up. I'm strictly GI, and all my responsibilities are GI. So going into this year would be a complete change, where, I'm not going to be in the booth. I have other responsibilities to teams and to the company that I have to do. So you probably won't see me in the webcast booth at all.
Damn. This is a bit
Yeah,
upsetting.
unless we lose, unless the Ironmen don't do very well, which obviously
that doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
NXL 2020 champs right now, so
That's right, baby.
Undefeated.
Yes, that's a great shirt.
Yeah, but so the thing that was great in doing the webcast was, Darren, who would run it, Mike Peveril, has done a lot of great things for Go Sports and made our lives a lot easier in the infrastructure and making sure we've got food, helping set up, being the technical director and helping out with Jacob in the booth. There was a system to it that makes it easy, and then Maddie himself keeping all the stats and being able to tell those stories. And then there are people that are very good up there. Marcelo Greenspan. There's a lot of guys that come up that you can get that are, if you want to say, naturals in front of the camera or just are good at public speaking. Yeah. And know the game. But that's the thing you have to focus on. And that takes me back to the first time I did the kill counts, is just when you can really focus on what is working for people, just find the simplest way to say it. Like, I can still remember that World Cup, Anthony Fayaza for Impact was killing it on the judo side. And I was like, man, I wish I would, in scouting a team the way I used to do it, is completely different than how I do it now, because I was forced to watch how people got kills and confirm those kills. Yeah. And so when you're given the best seat in the house to do Go Sports, or the webcast, it's a challenge to be able to talk about it and focus on it, but it's just something you have to learn to do. And so it's been a blessing to be able to do that. And I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss that for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely going to miss you on the webcast. Yeah. I thought you were a great personality up there.
Thanks,
I mean,
man.
you've talked about Go Sports. You talked about PB Access, kind of where it was. I mean, what do you see are the differences between the two different platforms, and what is Go Sports bringing now to the table for the webcast that PB Access kind of missed the ball on?
Well, it's one of those things where, Paintball Access both companies essentially kind of had to start from scratch, because PBA built everything from the ground up and was really had to trial and error. What worked, what didn't work, mm-hmm. And they were very successful. Dave and Di did a great job in keeping that going, and they actually had. And I can remember I was in California and I did a show with Maddie and Todd at Di. They had everything built out there. Anything you could ever need to produce shows and create content, they had. So when Go Sports first started, there was none of that. And so they had to restart, and they were, a lot of don't know if this is going to work. And there were a lot of things that failed and didn't work. And, you definitely feel the wrath of that on the internet in front of a bunch of people.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The internet's written in pen, not pencil, and it's ruthless.
Yes, it is. It is very ruthless. So it was just the people that Cena had a huge involvement in it, still does, that were involved that we didn't know what the heck we were doing. And it wasn't until we got Darren, who worked for Di and did PBA stuff. He moved out from California, moved to Florida, and started helping out and doing Go Sports stuff. That helped out a lot. The infrastructure, getting Maddie actually signed on to be full time, was huge. And it's been trial and error. It's been one of those things where I can't say for certain what, Dave and Di was a huge part of the foundation of what PB Access was. Mm-hmm. And they had gotten to the point where it was free. Like, hey man, if we want to get better, we need to make money. Okay, let's charge this amount. Now, all right, we really want to make it better, sustainable. Let's charge this amount. And so it got to the point where I think it was $25 or $35 for a weekend for full access.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
And so that got you X amount of dollars per event that would cover, just that event. Like it's not a small thing to set all that stuff up and be out there and, you're paying for, there's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff. As media, I'm sure you guys know the costs.
Oh yeah. The equipment
way
alone,
too high.
Yeah. Plus you got like two to four guys on the field. You got Lauren Kelly on the sideline. I mean, you got everybody in post-production working all the levels and stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's a full squadron of guys to get it done right.
Yeah. So, that's the big difference is there between, looking at the subscription model, which is Go Sports, and then the pay-per-view, which was PBA, was you need a more solid revenue stream to be coming in to be able to produce stuff. And so that's where Go Sports made a big change, kind of settings. If you can kind of look at like Netflix, where you can log in and Go Sports if you have an account, and you can scroll through. And I believe Go Sports has everything that PB Access did. Anything that was done by PSP, they have access to. So that's what that kind of gets you behind the paywalls, access to any and every, unless it's, obviously it's already on YouTube for free, but all that content, and then the constant creation, or hopeful constant creation and development of new things. Ultimate Shootout being one of those things, right? Where they're looking to do that through Go Sports and trying to find a way to do it. And that's just the struggle that was, it's not cheap to do these things, and it has to be paid for by somebody. And unfortunately, the way the industry and the league, more so the industry, the league has actually been slowly getting better, but the league isn't really paying for Go Sports. They're separate entities. Go Sports is its own company that has nothing to do with the NXL. And that's one of the misconceptions too, is like GI doesn't own the NXL anymore. GI doesn't own Go Sports. Richmond is on the board for GI, but is no longer the CEO or the president. That's Billy. So, where everything was once tied together, there's a very clear, even at the office, we're in two separate parts. There's a very clear separation and a line drawn between what is one thing and what is the other. If I want someone from Go Sports to do something for me, I have to put in a request in, and they bill us. They bill GI for, what has to be done. So,
but does Go Sports own the rights for like the streaming rights, like for the webcast for NXL? Like how does that work?
That's between them and the NXL. I don't know. GI in Richmond don't own any part of the NXL anymore. Yeah. They sold that off. They were both big investors when the league started and helped get the ball rolling. So, Darren, Cena, they have to get together with Dave and Bart,
Gotcha.
And figure out what they want to do, and Tom, and negotiate that. The NXL has run their own webcast in Europe, and I think they've found that it's a little expensive, and there were a lot of times they didn't have commentators, they didn't have actual cameramen. So
I was in the booth with Matt Angles in Amsterdam. I was there. Oh yeah, I mean it was tough. That was a muddy event. That wasn't that fun.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
It was fun. I played it, and I was gonna do photos, and I took like 7 pictures. It was like I got a picture of Golden State. That's it. I've called it.
So we've been talking about webcasts and all that, and we know that everyone has an idea of how to improve it, but we don't really know what your ideas might be. We know that there's always things you can do to improve them. What do you think would be a way to improve it, if possible?
It's tough to say. I mean, I think the easiest way that would make it easier on everyone on the webcast, and the way you could kind of dive a little bit deeper, would just be simply eliminating split deck to allow more, you know what I mean? Like if you could focus on, just 2 teams and dive into it and have that full 2 minutes, or, let's be realistic. Let's just call it a minute between points, because that can happen.
Yeah.
And focus on those 2 teams and tell the story and show and give more backstory to it, where, if I know X Factor and the Yarman are playing, the next 30 minutes are guaranteed to be just about them, then that means I can go and get interviews and get shots on those guys and feature them for that. I can go to X Factor Paintball Park, or, I can go to Die, and I can go to Eclipse and say, hey, these 2 powerhouse teams are playing each other. Do you want to sponsor this segment or run ads during this match, where you're actually going to have time where that your product will be featured, during this segment, and for 30 minutes, anyone watching is going to see it. I understand why split deck is needed. I get it. I don't, it doesn't bother me one way or another, but if the webcast for a viewing thing where you're going to, you can focus on just 2 teams playing, I think that would make it easier. I think you can get a little bit more out of it and do a better job of storytelling and build people up and build the story of a team up. One thing I think that would be cool for the webcast is, and Darren's wanted to do this, is allow him, or allow allow Go Sports to create the layout.
Ooh.
Jason creates layouts based on what he think will be good for players to play. And I'm not saying he doesn't create layouts based on. You're supposed to be in bed. Yeah. When you talk to them, you can come in my room. I will come in your room when I'm done. Okay, I love you.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you can totally have a kiss. Mwah. Okay.
That's some wholesome content right there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Love you, but so, one of the things I can attest to is the layout would come out as soon as I got done playing it. I would report back to Darren and he'd be like, hey, so what do you think? Knowing that where we have to put the scaffolding and how we set up cameras, what do you think a good angle is? So we would talk about that. Hey, how did this side play? How does that side play? Where should the focus be? Okay, cool. Get to the event after the 2 weekends of play. And one of my jobs and responsibility was to set up the scaffolding and move them around with Pev and have Darren stand up there, Arthur stand up there to get a good idea of, what camera angle is going to capture all that stuff that needs to be captured. So I can't be like, oh, we missed that. You got to be able to see the back 5 lines, see where people make moves. There's a lot that goes into that. So there's been discussion about, hey, why not let Ghost Sports create a layout? And this is where, I don't know, would this be public? Like, hey, Ghost Sports made this layout and not the NXL. Like, who knows? That's a whole other bag of cats too. But that would be kind of cool because if you create something that actually, you could build around, this is where if these bunkers are set here, you can get this perfect camera angle to capture this or capture that. And build out, camera angles I've never seen before. Obviously in Vegas, the cable cam worked out really well.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch right there.
I think like 3 or 4 years ago, we were in Europe at the last event in Paris, and we tried to do that. And it didn't work out quite as well as we would have liked, but obviously since then, technology has changed. It was whenever the CS1 came out, so it was like 2016 maybe.
Oh, man, was that really 4 years ago?
Yeah, you're telling me, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there could be some different camera angles, but that's you're restricted to, the league has been nice and the setup crew has been nice because of the boom. Like when we put that on the snake side or the pit side, you needed to have more room there. Now it's on the back side, but you can only put it in one area. You're only going to get that angle from that one side of the field. The Caber cam, gives another perspective of things. Dorito side cameras, people always want that, and there's definitely like a reason why it's that's been fought against to keep it simple. Because the one thing, hey, who watches the webcast? It's people who play paintball. But if I were to pitch this to ESPN or to someone to show it to viewers that have never seen paintball before, you want to put it in the simplest terms so they're not confused about why is the camera angle flipping from one thing to another.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you want to make it simpler,
simple for viewing.
Yeah, let Ghost Sports, and Darren's been a big, and Cena have been a big proponent of this, is controlling. We tried this, and I was in the meeting in Montreal it was between the Millennium and the NXL, is controlling the ball color, making it so it was that neon.
Oh, so it's easier to see them.
Easier to see, but it's one of those things where you can't control the paint manufacturers that are responsible to do that. That was a headache. Making it so that the pro field that had the webcast bigger, as in more room in the perimeter, but that there's restrictions there. So there's I don't know, there's quite a few things. I think if we could eliminate split deck, it would help the webcast out. But it's one of those things where you have to ask the viewer, what do you as fans of paintball that like to sit there and watch it want to see? I'm lucky where I get to just show. I'm there. I watch almost all the games at the field in person. So, I don't need to go back and rewatch it unless I'm scouting a team. Like I've gone back and watched games, but I've seen them all.
Yeah. So you have an idea of what to look for anyway.
Yeah. And I've been lucky enough where in all the years I've been playing, I missed Chicago last year because of, this one was being born.
Can't blame you there.
That's a pretty good reason to miss Chicago.
Yeah, you rotten little. We won that event too.
I mean,
but like that's where I can appreciate watching games. You know what I'm saying? Like I find myself at these events. If you're someone that's at home that is, and you don't get to go to these events, what do you like? That's the people you need to poll. Is like, I wish if they just had a better or more overhead shots, or I don't know.
I mean, I think that the cable cam is a great start. I mean, it gives you guys more angles, more viewing. Oh, I'm sorry.
You.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's more angles, more viewing. I mean, it's all around different. I mean, the one thing that I wish that the NXL would do, and I think that would help for viewership, especially for people that are new, is what they do with NCPA with the different colored bunkers for the different sections of the field.
So
I always thought they did that great. And
yeah,
webcast of college nationals, Maddie thought of the same thing, but I never understood why the NXL never really adopted that.
That's definitely been talked about. It's just one of those things where if you have to know way ahead of time what bunkers you're going to use.
Yeah.
Where. So if we were to say 2020 was going smoothly and there was no coronavirus or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they would have had all 5 layouts built out by the start of the season, so the order can go in and those bunkers that need to be, whatever color they need to be, can be made. And so that's just something that hasn't happened. However, Jason, as the commissioner of the league, decides to create the layouts. It's one of those things where I don't think he creates them that far in advance. And I know he likes to go out there and set layouts up and play them and use people to test stuff out to make sure it works. And you just realistically, where we're at, we can't create, those bunkers can't be made that quickly with the colors that need to be done. And it's been talked about. They've looked at putting stuff over the bunkers, coloring the bunkers, coloring the ground. It's trust me, we've looked at overlays, for the webcast to be able to make it so like you would see the line in football, right? The line of scrimmage or not to get a first down, but it's just we're not there yet. It's not to say that it can't happen. Tom, I think, was live today, and he says by Thanksgiving they're going to release the dates for next year.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow, by Thanksgiving. That's early. That's
early.
That's really early.
They're trying. They've had some time to sit and think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, only a few months.
Figured out. Yeah. So, if Jason, a lot of pro players and people have been creating mock layouts. If Jason looks at those and goes, "Hey, these could work," then maybe that's something that if they say, "Hey, we're going to use," and I don't, not that they need to announce this because it's going to create all sorts of, well, who knows, good press, bad press, but they might be able to just use some of those layouts that have been created and just say, "Hey, we're going to commit to these for next year," and then create those colored bunkers. I like it. I think it's a great idea. I think the NCPA was a genius idea for doing it, to have a red zone or have bunkers colored certain ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I live in New Jersey, so like whenever I went down for college nationals, my parents always watched like 1, maybe 2 matches, and that was the thing that they picked it up. He's like, "Oh, he's in the red zone. He's at the 50. He's in a good spot." Or he's all the way in the back in like the gray zone. It's like, I don't know if he might not be doing that well. But I mean, it definitely made explaining, especially even to like a bunch of my friends that don't know paintball and stuff, the progression of how people move and utilizing these different sections and the importance of these different parts of the field.
Yeah, we talked about just even having, the MPPL used to do this where they would have the yard lines painted, right? They had a red zone where they would actually put the ground down.
Exactly.
Doing that. Oh yeah.
I mean, we'll get there. I mean, I think with enough people speaking up, and especially kind of getting that forum, and especially I think it does need to come from Go Sports. It's like, what are people looking for? How do we make a better webcast? Whether it's just for the people watching or trying to expand that audience, making that open forum might be the thing that pushes it over the line. Maybe so. I mean, there's always those logistical issues on the back end, like you said, for the bunkers. Like, we don't have enough time to make a layout and then get these colored bunkers set up. But as long as the discussion is open, I think that's progress.
Yeah, no, and it's always there. I mean, people are always leaving comments. And it's one of those things too, where, not all these ideas are original ideas. Like, they've all come up before, they've been implemented. A lot of people have drawn this stuff from other sports. It's just a matter of, and it does come down to whether it's a sad thing or just the way it is. It comes down to money. Like, is this going to bring in more viewership, or will it help? A lot of people say yes, and it's just one of those things where you got to go out there and test it and commit to doing it for a full year and being able to measure that. Like, hey, did this work? Did it not work? Did it make a difference? And I don't know that the Go Sports or even the league are set up to do that as of yet. And unfortunately, 2020 is pretty much
it's a wash.
Is not going to work out very well. But
no,
let's just erase 2020 and next year's 2020. We're back in 2019.
Oh man, that'd be great.
And that was a pretty long answer for a pretty easy question, I thought.
Go to bed.
So, Rob, I know you had a question that you really wanted to ask, so I know that you ask it.
Yeah. I mean, kind of getting a little bit more in the hypotheticals. In your dream matchup, your dream commentating matchup, who would you want to commentate? And this could be in any format you choose: 10-man, 7-man, hyperpipe, woods, old school X-ball with the penalty box, which is personally my favorite. Love
These can be teams that never play each other because they were defunct before other teams. Just your dream team's dream matchup.
Set up like the best matchup ever and be able to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not fair. I want to be playing.
No, you're commentating.
You're commentating. Damn. You're a commentator.
I mean, I think it's crazy you say that because like it's one of those things where I look at it in two different ways. Like it's always depressing to be like commentating the finals because like, man, I want to be out there playing, but at the same time, in Maddie, it's funny, Todd, every finals we've commentated, no matter what tournament it is, like, how could any game get any crazier? What could happen where the Russians make this crazy comeback or, geez, I think it was the Russians, Chicago, like 2012, or like J-Rab, runs down the field and bunkers out Glenn in the middle while Oliver's still in the snake and hangs it. And then, then there it goes into overtime and Britnikoff bunkers out Stephen Pitts to win the tournament for the Russians. Like this stuff just keeps happening. So
that was the Danny Manhattan video, right? Yeah. I don't know if you're like super into like just like paintball montages and edits and stuff, but I forgot who made it. But it was like probably one of the, at least to me and like a bunch of my friends, like one of the most watched like paintball videos out there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them, and that's one of those things that I think it'd be cool. I don't know that there's like any teams that I would say like stand out to me. That's the beauty of it, is the buildup of what a team has to get through to get to the finals to play. So if they've made it, they've earned it in some way or shape or form. So, to me, it wouldn't matter what team it is. It would be cool to be able to go back and give games that you like. I can remember waiting around in my local paintball store for the next, Trauma Head VHS tape to come out. Right. Yeah. We didn't have, games weren't live streamed. There was no videos, online really. So to be able to go back and give any of those old school 10-man matches that I came up watching commentary would be sweet, whether it was Dynasty playing in the open division before they could play in the NXL, back when the NXL happened, 2003, 2004, to, the last World Cup win, or even go back to Push and Sunday Drivers, all those games, any of those tournaments throughout those 2 seasons that, you never got the full scope of what was happening. If I could put myself in a booth like we have for any of the matches on a 10-man field where I could see it and commentate it, which would be just pandemonium. I couldn't imagine.
Crazy.
I mean, the ICC that I've done with Maddie the last 2 years was crazy enough. But to be able to do any of those legendary games of those teams and call them out, that would be my dream. It wouldn't matter who was playing who. To be able to do a full weekend of that, to where it was captured and recorded, and we can go back and watch it in the clarity that we have today. Oh man. That would be awesome.
Can't beat it.
No, that would elevate. I think that's one of the things too, that's the joy of the webcast and what it's allowed people to have, is you can go back and you could search individuals and find clips of them from the webcast. It's a nice resource to have. And I know there are a few people that I can't remember his name, but he did stuff for the UFC, and he did stuff for PBA. And they have a library where you could search, certain fighters' names and their fight, and, UFC 27 or whatever the numbers are. and it will bring it up, and it will bring up clips and highlights. If we have those resources, that would be sick. And it's slowly but surely working its way that way. But
just got to get there.
Yeah, it's a process.
Got to get.
So, if you had, just anybody in the world, your dream guest commentator, would you choose someone from like football, soccer? Like who is your dream co-commentator?
God, I have no idea. I don't even know any other commentators. Everyone hates Joe Buck, so I can't say him because that'd be weird. Like Harry Carey. I'm a Chicago guy, and the Cubs. I'll take Harry Carey. I want Harry Carey to do the 7th inning stretch at a paintball tournament, which I guess would be the fantastic. 7th. We call it the 7th mass stretch.
Oh man,
that would be good.
The match right after or before lunch.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then your next one would be, your next favorite would be Joe Buck, right?
No. I'm trying to think of who. I can't remember the guy's name, but he would always do the Olympics. I don't know. Just trying to think of those voices that I can try to remember from stuff. I don't know.
First commentator I always think of is John Madden. He's my immediate go-to whenever I think of a commentator is John Madden.
Joe Rogan, he would be pretty fun to do stuff with.
I think he would.
Joe Rogan would be funny. He'd be fun to be next to.
He would be like walking down the pits. It's like, hey man, it's a great match out there. You ever tried DMT? Just like really going to expand your mind, and who knows what you'll see out on that field.
Yeah, or you know what? Not even a commentator. Imagine like Kevin Hart.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
a comedian.
I can see him being like taking Laura Kelly's spot, just standing up next to Sergey, just like, yes, can I get a quote?
Yeah, right.
You got to lean down a little bit. I can't reach.
That would be funny.
That would be good. But yeah, I mean, as you've commentated a bunch of games throughout the years, I mean, who has been your favorite player to watch and commentate, and who has been, I don't want to say hated, but your least favorite player to watch or commentate?
They don't have to be a bad person or player, just someone that you might not want to, maybe they kill everyone so fast you can't call them out in time or whatever, just who you don't like commentating because you're not able to do it as well or whatever you feel like.
Oh, well, so what is that, like a 3? So favorite people to commentate, it's, I mean, my friends, the people I grew up with, when Chris Oseen was playing, Drew Templeton, people, my brother-in-law, Cody, people that I know, and I know how good they are, and I want them to do well. And it's one of those things too, where I think in being able to play pro and being able to play with the people I have, being able to be a little bit harder on them because they're my peers, and so a lot of them are my friends. So I don't know that one person individually stands out as like a favorite, because on every team, I don't know anyone really all that well on level. Some of the younger teams, but there's always someone that I pull for, or individuals I pull for that I know on a more personal level, that maybe I'll be more, I guess not so much biased, but I'll talk about them more. It's easier. It's just able to gravitate towards those people. Yeah. So those are, my friends are those people, and it's easier to make jabs at them and, and talk a little shit, because that's
because you can. I mean, friends talk shit to each other. I mean, that's
what are they going to do
about being friends?
Yeah, and I'm on the webcast and you're not, so deal with it. Like, what are you going to do?
They're not going to know until after the event when you're safe.
You won't know until later tonight when you're watching the webcast. So, those are, there's that. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, people I don't like commentating, it's almost in that same instance. It's when the people that I'm friends with aren't doing well, or they just blow it. And because you have to be, and I try to be this way, I try to be as fair and as neutral as possible against everybody. Like you don't have the choice. You have to talk bad about them. You have to be like, yeah, you blew it. Like, you shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. And it's one of those things where it's easy for me to say because I'm in the best seat in the house and I can see everything. So I don't know. I know more than you do. But at the same time too, though, as a player, it's like, well, if I'm going to say this, I have to believe that if I was out there in that situation, I could do it. I would have done it right, or I would have done it better than what they were doing. So it's kind of an interesting spot to be in, but I'm not, one against one person or the other, fans or
Yeah.
I guess I hate everyone equally, or like everyone equally. There's no one that's, better.
There's no bias.
Yeah. it's not like, oh God, Infamous is coming up. This is going to be, this is going to be terrible, because that's one of the great things too, is that, sorry.
Very good.
You don't know what you're going to get when you get out there on the paintball field, going into a tournament, those first matches, the second matches. It's one of those things where you see what the My Family Wagon predictions are.
Yeah.
You're waking up, go back to bed. You see what the predictions are. You see what you think, what you know what's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people not thinking that NRG and Level were thinking that they were going to do horrible, and they did pretty well. I mean, they weren't all the way down at the bottom like a lot of people were saying. I mean, I have a buddy that plays on Level, and I watched and played against him when he played at Penn State. So wow. yeah, go like when I started doing media NXLs and he was still playing semi-pro. I was like, oh, no way. Dude, I haven't seen you in like 4 or 5 years. Like you moved out, like way out in like Pittsburgh or like Ohio or whatever. And now like you got a wife and stuff. Like this is crazy. The last time I saw you was college nationals and you're shotgunning a beer. So talk about like even personal development, let alone paintball.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, I've never, and I've learned this from playing, is, you can never underestimate who you're playing against, whether they're new, old, what roster changes have happened. And it's one of those things where it's definitely something that I've learned from watching games first and having to play in the afternoon. Tournament starts, it's Friday. The first set of games are going to happen, which I think is a blessing to play in the afternoon, to be able to watch teams and scout how people are doing certain things and pick up on those tendencies or something new. And you can, if you completely write a team off and you go, whoa, these guys are playing pretty good. You know what I mean? I didn't see that coming. So I think that's kind of gotten me to the point where I don't like or dislike anyone more than anybody else. I probably, if it was Sunday and we didn't make it on, and let's just say Infamous is on, and I go back to, when it's Drew Templeton and Chris O'Seen, it's an older Infamous from like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. Yeah, I'm going to pull for those guys, and they're going to be my favorites over, I don't know who else it would. I play with so many people, like I can't think of like, who would I want them to beat? Like that I don't like.
Just say one of the younger teams you don't know anything about.
Yeah. One of those,
exactly.
Whatever team it was at the time. That team. Crap. That's the only, I think that's the only way I'm trying to think. I don't know. I want to be like meaner. Like, yeah, I hated these guys.
No, you're good. You're having great answers. So we did want to ask you, because I know you're Florida local. You know about MVPS. You know about the webcasts they do and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. How do you feel they're able to actually put on a free webcast? Like, obviously, it's not as high budget as Go Sports or anything, but they are still doing it. How do you feel they could improve it? What do you think needs to bring them to the next level? How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, if Alex, and I don't know who is actually running it or organizing it for him or doing the logistics, but everything seems to be pretty successful. In the times that they've done it, I've been there. The beginning of this year, Go Sports was there, and I was there for the combine, so I didn't get to pay much attention to it. And everything I did do that wasn't the combine was Go Sports. But I've seen some of the stuff that they've redone, and it's pretty simple. And that's the great thing. And that's one of the things that I think it's easy to criticize and be like, well, this isn't like Go Sports. Like, it's not supposed to be, dude. It's a free webcast where you can tune in and watch games in a simple form. And if you know the game, you're a fan of it, you play in the league, like, don't complain. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
what can they do to improve? I mean, the only thing that they should focus on is figuring out the best way to manage the money and the resources they have available to them, and balancing that between the league and the webcast, because that's the one thing too that a lot of people didn't know, or maybe still don't know, is that Go Sports is not the league. Like, the league is not paying for it. So you saw what happened. If you look at Europe, when Go Sports didn't go to Europe, what was the webcast? It was what the NXL could afford and do. And it was very different. Was it free? Yeah, it was free, but that came at a cost. So, was that good enough for some people? Absolutely. Did other people want more and then learn to appreciate what the $8 a month they were spending for Go Sports got them? Yeah, they did. So, what can the league do? I honestly said I have to listen in. Did they have commentators for every match? Did they have rosters? Did they know people's names? Did they have the right teams up there? Was there graphics for a scoreboard? Those are some of the small things that aren't out there. They're not small by any measure because they take a lot of work. But as long as they have at least 2 to 3 decent cameras that can cover the whole field, and I think the commentators have a good field of vision to give accurate information to the people watching live at home. That's all you really need. That's it.
That's fair. Completely fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, maybe they can have a donation box or a way where people can chip in and donate some money so they can take, and I don't know how transparent they would be with it, but they can take that money and apply it towards building out a better webcast. And they can go, hey, first event, MVPS1, thanks for your charitable donations. We raised $600. We were able to, to build out this, or we bought another camera, and this is where this camera's going to go. So shout out to all your teams and fans of the league that were able to do that. Very cool.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
Take it to the bank.
Yeah, I like that idea. I've tuned in for some of their stuff before. It's pretty simple, and what's nice is that they normally pull like high divisional players for commentators. So they know the game. Daniel Pena play on like RCK and stuff, and I think they pulled like some of the guys from like Jits, and Zudel plays on the Jits. Mm-hmm. So they're all
not
people.
anymore.
They might. Oh, he doesn't play for them anymore.
He plays for what is it, Blackout? The D2 team that just won Vegas. He plays for them now.
Blackout.
Wow.
I don't know any of these teams. I live here.
No worries. But
you need to come out to CFP. It's only like 4 hours from where you are.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
But yeah, as long as you pull people that know and understand the game, like even though they might not know players' names, they can still break down certain moves and like what people are doing wrong and doing right. So I think they have a good foundation, but exactly what you said, managing their little bit of money, maybe try to get some charitable donations if they want to try to improve it. You'll see how the Florida community really reacts to it. If they really try to pull for those charitable donations. But
yeah, it's one of those things though too. Like people just have to be realistic. Like, if I'm the league and like they have to know what their cost is to do this, to set up, to tear down, for the equipment, for the people, and if it gets to the point where it's costing them money and it's not sustainable, if you're not making money, you're not sustainable. And if they're losing money on that end, or if they're going over budget, like it's you gotta, you know what I mean? Like tell the people like, hey, look, we want to be able to do this for you, but this is the cost. And right now, like it's, we just can't afford to do it. So, that's where I say in asking for anything that they can get, or trying to figure out a way to raise some money for it is probably good. But, it's also a testament to if the league is successful and the league is able to sustain what they have and build out a plan for the year and go, hey, if we've made any extra money here, where's that money going to go? Is it going to go towards the netting, towards renting out air, toward, to tents? There's costs associated with a lot of stuff. So I think as long as it works out, and again, it sucks because this year is kind of a wash for everybody and no one's going to know what worked or what didn't work.
Yeah.
Or be able to really get a good test for what they thought would happen. But no, I think they're on the right track. Any league that can do it in one way or another, whether it's just going, connecting your phone up to a hotspot and going live on your phone and being able to talk about it, you're providing content to people that aren't playing that can see it. And as long as they share it and it can be talked about, then you're helping grow. Well, you're helping advertise paintball. I don't know that you're growing anything, but it's one of those things where in the day and age that we live in, the accessibility to be able to show this stuff off, the thing to say to people is don't be so quick to judge. just accept it for what it is and enjoy it, because you could just be sitting at home not doing it, because obviously you're not playing paintball if you're sitting down watching it. So,
especially if it's free. If you complain about something that's free, there's something wrong with you, not with them.
Yeah. There you go. Hashtag.
So we've kind of finished up with like the really, really serious questions, stuff like that.
Oh, no.
No problem. Once again to the other ones.
Yeah.
Shy now.
No, I mean, for a while, your face has kind of been plastered all over the internet. I mean, like, how do you feel about like all these memes and stuff just coming out of your beard or just like whatever? I mean, there's that picture of Houston when you're on Houston Heat, like pointing at the camera, which was like turned into memes for like forever. I
want
shout
you
out
to
stretch, man. 901 paintball, baby. Well, it's just it's one of those things that I'm a social person and I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy teaching paintball. And I think I've kind of like, it's been an interesting road for me, because there was like becoming pro, playing, getting involved in the industry and working in the industry from the bottom and doing shipping and receiving. The webcast, definitely when you get put on the webcast and you're talking about paintball, it's one of those things where I was kind of thrust into the limelight. And then working more in the industry and becoming an industry rep, selling stuff, being the go-to person. If something happens to you for GI, Empire, JT, or Tipman, like I'm typically the person that responds, whether I'm responding as the company on Instagram or Facebook, or someone tags me in a thread. So it's easy for that stuff to happen. It's a love-hate thing. Like it's just like, I don't care. Shout out Paintball Standard. Keep it up. Like I love it.
I mean,
create more stuff. Create something original. Don't do fan submissions. Okay. I want the real thing. I want another Modelo. Okay. Give me that championship. Okay. That's going to set me up for the next event.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask that. How is that face-off with the Paintball Standard, and will you release his information on who he is?
No. I'm not releasing anything. It's not just one person.
Okay.
It's never just one person. But that was funny because like I met them right before that as like an apology for something, or I don't even remember what happened. And then I tried to give them a shout out in the stands when I was playing. Paintball Standard, woo! But it's one of those. It's easy to become bitter with the things that are said, but you just have to realize that it gets reactions out of people, and it's kind of funny. And so like a lot of it I've embraced, and we won Vegas. So it was ha ha ha.
They can say
2020 champs at this point.
Yeah, they can say what they want about you, but you know what? You won pro, so
yeah. One of those things too. Like I definitely get drawn into a lot of stuff online, and probably say stuff or too much more than I should. But it's a thing when I get into paintball and I look at. I've learned the things that I've learned being involved in the industry, going to tournaments and setting up. People just don't know. And they speak from lack of experience or just ignorance. And there was a time when I was doing the social media for GI and GI only before, GI bought Titman or Key and all that stuff happened, where the company policy was don't respond. Don't say anything, because it's not worth getting dragged into an internet battle with people. And the problem I've had with that is, if you let people keep saying stuff over and over and over again, pretty soon people are just going to assume it's the truth.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that, is said or isn't said that's blown up online. And a lot of people that I feel could have said things or presented more facts just haven't. And I struggle with that. And it's one of the positions I'm in, and whether that's, dealing with stuff on, the Paintball Standard and memes and whatnot, or, a lot of stuff I'm involved in now is stuff with the JT. And I've, there's been a lot of back and forth on stuff like that in that area. But I'm not going to sit back and be quiet about it. And if it comes to responses from GI, and Billy's been really awesome, and John and Rab and Opie and and Richmond, before he left, where they would give me the freedom to go on and speak on behalf of the company to certain topics. Other things they told me to shut the hell up on and don't say anything, but
it's a give and take.
It is, and it's just one of those things you have to. And I don't know how many times I've written stuff out and just delete it and go like, this isn't worth getting involved in. Other times it is, and you want people to put the truth out there, or to have the truth out there and know the story and know what's going on. Because at one point, it's goes back to the Dark Knight or whatever it was, where I don't know if it's even the Dark Knight, but Harvey Dent, what's his face, says the line, you live yourself, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or you die a hero, right?
That was the Dark Knight.
So Impact, one of the Yakimeks say that? When Impact, everyone loved Impact. They started winning.
Yeah.
Everyone became a fan, and then they kept winning. And they kept winning. Everyone's like, well, we hate Impact. We want someone to beat Impact. And it's like, well, what changed? When GI came onto the scene, everyone loved him. There was a bunch of love there. And then all of a sudden, everyone hates GI. It's like, wait a minute. What happened? Like, oh, you ruined paintball. You bought everything. You sue everybody. I'm like, no, that's actually been happening forever. You just, now that everyone can go on their phone and people can write whatever they want, you just take that as the truth.
Yeah.
Misinformation. So it's kind of like that. Like, you were the hero for a few years and now you're the villain and you can't do anything right.
As far as the suing goes and all that, that's just, people just like to bicker. Every company in the world sues every other company if they steal their stuff. And I mean, look what happened. Valken, when they started suing people, after they fired Damien and then started suing people, everyone started hating Valken. If someone steals your intellectual property, you're gonna sue them. That's just how things work.
Yeah, because if you don't do that, then you lose your intellectual property.
Yeah. So I mean, Apple sued Samsung. Samsung has sued Apple. Is Samsung and Apple ruining the iPhone community?
You.
So I just don't get, people just like to bicker.
Well, yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Any other fun questions?
Yeah, we have two more. What's up with everyone's fascination with your beard? Just curious.
It just grows, and I haven't done anything to it. I don't know.
I mean, everybody I know, it's Nick Slowiak's beard. That's it. They know who you are, of course. They know that, but it's the beard. When you shave it, you look completely different, and everyone doesn't know it's you. And
thank God, I'm gonna have to do that soon. I look like I'm 12.
Feel free to do it right now. I mean, we're watching.
I'll live stream that. That's fine. I'll make a whole event.
Yeah, maybe next time, boys.
No worries.
I don't know. So before that, I just had these crazy sideburns.
Yes, I do remember that.
I don't know. I guess it's not as popular as Thomas Taylor's mohawk. It's easy to do. I don't have to take care of it. I just
it's pretty fair.
Eat food and shower and wash it, and it just grows a little bit longer.
Gotta comb out the food like after a meal.
No, I say no. That's a snack later.
Exactly. I was a snack.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess kind of like for our last final question, if anybody really wanted to try to work on the webcast or get into Go Sports, or like it doesn't even have to be Go Sports, or like just broadcasting for like some of these smaller tournaments, or just like even another sport, like how does one go about trying to obtain that opportunity? I mean, like I know that you've done it all on the back end of paintball, but for somebody new, they're playing maybe one in NXL, they play some regional leagues, and they see it, it's like that'd be a cool thing. How does somebody do that?
I mean, it's one of those things where if you have a resume, if you're looking to work for Go Sports, I will give you Darren's I have numerous people that have emailed in or messaged Go Sports and asked, like, hey, email Darren. He's runs it. He can make those decisions. But if, say we were at an NXL event this weekend or just today, whatever, and you walked up to the Go Sports booth and you said, hey, I'm looking to do this. Well, it's one of those things where realistically, what's it going to take? It's going to take your time. Like you have to be able to, it's like anything. If you want to be involved with something you want to go pro in paintball, you want to go pro in this, this is going to be your profession. You have to be able to dedicate your time to doing it. So if I were, someone walked up and said, hey, I want to be involved in this. I'm like, okay, well, where do you live? Can you come here? There are things I'm going to need you to do if you want to be part of this, that are going to require sacrifices on your end, whether it's moving to Fort Lauderdale to where, we're at right now, or, showing us that, you have a background and a skill set to be able to do something. That's what it takes for any profession or any job. You want to be a mechanic, you can't just, you gotta be an apprentice. You got to go to school. You have to learn certain things. So if someone wants to be involved with it, for one, here's the easiest thing: ask questions. Like, don't be afraid. Whether it's online or if you find yourself at an event, you have to approach the people that run it and say, "Hey, I'm interested in this. These are the things I'm looking to do. I would love to be a part of it. What do I need to do?" And then you have to accept the answer. It's either one, sorry, we're not hiring right now. We, all of our positions are filled. Love to take down your name or hopefully it goes. Love to take down your name and number, and then we can contact you in the future if we need you. Or it's gonna be like, well, hey, we really are looking for someone to help set up and do pretty much all the shitty jobs that we're gonna have to be done. But that's how I got my start. The basics of a warehouse, man. I was doing inventory and pulling and shipping orders. I was, the only thing that helped me out there is I knew paintball products, and I could test paint, and I could say, hey, if this paint's good, this paint's bad, and we could shoot paint on the side. And it was easy for me to talk about paintball, and because I played it. So that's one of those things where if you walk up and say, I love to do a thing at Go Sports, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to get out of it? You have to be able to answer those questions truthfully and be able to accept the real life answer of, yes, we need you. No, we don't need you. Or, hey, you think you want to be out there being a cameraman? Well, we need someone that can set up wires and do teardown. And that's your entry level into this position, and accept it or don't. And then figure out another path into getting into it. I don't know how to answer that on a regional level. I mean, because I think they would take any help they could get. But, the structure of what is happening at an NXL event for Go Sports is a little bit different, because they're essentially guaranteeing that they have to have everyone there so the show can run. Now, something that just popped in my head is people are always disappearing or flaking on Cena for stats from my fan wagon. A great way in the door where you're going to be involved and be front and center and involved with Go Sports on the webcast is doing stats. If you're not playing, if the NXL is coming to your city and you're not playing paintball and you want to be able to be in the pro pits all weekend long, volunteer to do stats. You're going to be involved with Maddie. You're going to eat with the crew. You're going to be able to ask questions. You're going to see everything right there. And if you can commit to doing stuff like that and you do a good job, that to me would be the base level entry, first position you could get to do anything with Go Sports, would be doing stats. You do a good job like that. Shit, that's what I did. Holy cow. Look at that. It's full circle, man. I just realized that. That's the first thing I did. I did stats for Maddie.
Kill counts for
back
Maddie.
In the day. And then he's like, hey, man, you want to do the webcast? I don't see that happening. Like, oh, hey, new stat guy. Put your clipboard down. Come on up here and do this. Do a video. I don't think that'll happen, but you'll be involved and you'll be able to see how things go and learn the basics of it. And if you do a good job, maybe you'll get more responsibilities. You'll graduate from taking the stats, to being on the field and recording, presenting that information, to recording that information. You'll learn how that gets input into the computer. From inputting that stuff in the computer and being in the booth, you'll see how, I don't know how you'll see stuff too, because I don't know all the technical stuff. So I can't pretend to give you an answer on that, but
That's fair.
So the cable cam was being done, right? Arthur was doing the cable cam, and him having to do the cable cam, that took time away from him being on the field and getting those remote shots, those live shots on his remote cam. So, hey, from doing stats, you might be like, oh, this is that, we're doing the cable cam is like playing a damn video game on the Xbox. Maybe I can get good at that. So now Arthur is free to go back on the field. Okay, now you've graduated from stats to doing the camera. You learned one camera. Hey, you did the cable cam. Here's how it gets set up and gets taken down. Hey, we'd like you to come in early to help. You know what I mean? Like it would grow from there. Yeah, that's how I think it would work. It's the same kind of way in trying to get sponsorship from a field. Like go talk to the field manager and the store owner and see what you can do to help them. It's a give and take, right? What can you do to help them? You give something to them, they can give something back to you. In Go Sports, it would be time. Like you have to be able to go there and commit to doing something for a full weekend and helping out. If you're good at it and you can go to the next event, well, they might not pay for your plane ticket, but they might cover your hotel and pay you for the day. Come World Cup, next thing you know, they're flying you in, all your meals are free and your stay is free and you're getting paid. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever they decide to do.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I do have to say this because it's episode 2 and you're the second guest, and this is the third Finley hat I've seen.
I got a lot of them.
I know.
Yeah,
I have one. And I love it, and I want to get more. But like I know Stretch, he has a ton.
His
I know
wall
you
is
have a
covered in
ton.
Finley hats.
His wall is covered.
Mm-hmm.
Also has some really sick jerseys on that wall too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not as sick as Nick's, but
I mean, he probably does. I used to have a pretty decent collection of pro jerseys, but a lot of my friends and other people have wanted them, and I've given a lot of that stuff away. So, hey, if you need a Finley hat, let me know. I'll hook you up.
I do. I need another.
Dude, I hit up Jimmy and I was like, "Hey, man, I want to get some hats," and I bought some.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sent me a box. Like I bought like 2 hats and something else, like a shirt. He sent me like 10 hats.
Oh man!
I was like, dude, what am I going to do? There's a reason why I only got 2.
You only got to wear the 2. Yeah,
and I actually gave some away that day. I was in the elevator. I went home for lunch. The box showed up. I opened it up. I was like, well, there's a lot of hats. And as I was getting in the elevator to go up to the office to the 5th floor where I work, a woman got in, or woman, you know, it's like around the same age as me, got in there and was like, why do you have so many hats? And I was like, well, my buddy owns a hat company and he gave me a bunch of hats. Oh, it's cool. My husband collects hats. I was like, here you go.
That's easy.
Take this hat. The company's called Finley. It's on a tag. Merry Christmas.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll send you hats. I got a whole bunch.
That sounds like what happened. I work in advertising at one of my vendors used to be like the MLB. Nice. And they came over and like, do you know like those like Oakley sunglasses that like players wear and stuff, like the really nice ones? He came in and was like, so we brought over a box of these sunglasses, and like I was working in advertising, especially in media, like it's primarily women. So like none of these girls wanted it. It was like, so I was like, yeah, I'll take them. It's like 8 of these. They're like $200 Oakleys. It's like I took like 8 of them. It's just like I have tons of friends that go play softball or baseball. It's like it just started handing them out, and they watch and stuff. So I give them these Oakleys. Just like, holy shit, these are, you're just gonna give them to me? It's like, yeah, MLB stopped in the office. We did like a vendor meeting. Just like
no big deal.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It was like the coolest thing that ever. It's like, I don't need them. My one buddy who lives in Colorado, he still wears them. He goes like, dude, these are my. When I'm not snowboarding, I'm not wearing snowboarding goggles. These are my go-to glasses.
Yeah, and now you're the man. That's right. That's
free
right.
swag. Free swag is always good.
I mean, I got something for free once too. I got to watch John Wick a week before it came out in theaters.
Ooh.
There you go. That's a win. That's a big win.
It was good to me. I mean,
yeah, I'm about that win.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well. I don't know if Rob anything else, but I wanted to thank you for coming on. We appreciate.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on. I mean,
thank you guys for being on. If you weren't on, I wouldn't be on.
Fair enough. I mean, actually, I do have one more question.
Oh?
Do
you know of the Media Gang, and what are your thoughts on it?
They have the best breakouts in paintball.
Oh,
those guys break out. When those guys break out, yes. I tell you what, man.
Yes.
You got some guys running on the break with their camera lenses down. You got some other guys, they're turning up their shutter speed and they are smoking people off the break. ISO, I don't know if your ISO is all set, but man, and you got to compete with Gary Baum. I don't know. He's not always in the breakout, but he's got one of the quickest shutter speeds in the whole game. So
man.
You got to make sure your f-stop is set. And you want manual or automatic focus. I'm not sure how you guys your trigger fingers are these days. But
now Nick's just saying words. Nick's just saying words he knows now.
Hey, I took photography classes and I took media classes.
Okay.
Because one of the things I'll tell you what, going back in the story, is watching Sunday drivers and push and some of the trauma head stuff. In the way that stuff was shot, I was like, this, to me, that put paintball in those players, and you didn't get much history on them, but it's just on another level. It made it cool. And so one of my early things for me was like, well, if I can learn how to do this stuff, that would be sweet. So I took a couple of video production classes and a bunch of photography classes in community college and when I went back to school and looked at possibly doing that. And it's one of those things that when we hired Cena on to work for us after he did the rookie. Maybe this was like 2000. I don't even know. 12, 13?
Yeah, still PSP because that was after that was because he was playing at Texas Storm, right?
Yeah, it was early on.
Yeah.
But I was filming stuff with Cena. He threw me his red, and I would go out there and some of the shots in his video.
Time out. He threw you his red.
I mean, I actually threw it.
He threw you like, yeah, here you go. Here's like a $10,000 camera. Go get shots. That's wild.
Yeah, I was going out there with him and filming.
Nice.
I loved it, dude. I did filming with him. I think it was at a couple of US XBLs. One was at Zone in Houston, and the other one was in San Antonio at X Factor. But I loved it. I was like, I could do this. If you gave me a camera and just knowing fields, like I would go out there and just stand and get blasted all day and just getting the shots to know that this is what looks good on camera. I was all about that. Like editing, I didn't say it with ADD or whatever I have. Like it was tough for me to sit down and edit stuff, but in getting shots, like most of the drone footage you would have seen the last few years, I filmed all that stuff. I took the drone, nice. I flew it around and got that, and I would do that for the pre-shows and all that fun stuff. So like if it came to give me a camera, like a video camera, I'm your guy. Film, kind of fun, but like I would rather it is a lot of work. I would rather go stand in a lane, where I know that, Rainey Stanzak's gonna be shooting on the break, just shoot this guy going through this spot, stand there and get shot in that lane just to get it. It might take 5 points. But that's something that I could see I saw myself doing to a point in being able to film and do stuff, and that's why I took classes. So, yeah, I'll say f-stop and shutter speed and rack focus and all that other fun stuff.
If I give you $20, will you film Media Gang for 1 point in ICC?
Yeah,
I'll give you my camera. Yeah. I'll give you my camera.
I took one of the best pictures of ICC. I got more and what's his face?
Ooh,
you took that picture?
Yeah, I took that picture.
Nice.
Yeah, come on, get out of here.
I'm gonna give you some money. ICC.
Hey, you know what? This one's on the house.
We appreciate it. I mean, half the team is actually media. It's great. Straight out of focus, man. I was in charge of paying for entry.
I know.
The most nerve-wracking thing ever. Oh my god! I'm sitting at my desk in Manhattan and just like refreshing and get through. It's like, as soon as I paid entry, I stood up from my desk and I looked at all my teammates. It's just like, guys, I did it. I fucking did it. They're all like, what did you do? I paid for entry. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. But literally, just imagine huge concert sells out in 3 seconds. That's the same thing. It's the same vibe.
I remember it was like a minute before they were supposed to drop, and we're all in the chat. Rob, are you ready? Rob, please, you're not responding. Are you ready?
That's a good sign if he's not responding.
It was. He was like, afterwards, he was like, guys, shut up. I'm trying to do this. Boom.
Yeah, hey, do you want to play this or not?
Yeah, I'm doing what I can. But ICC is gonna be dope. Pretty pumped to see you there. Say hi in person and stuff. Be really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that works out because over on the east coast of Pennsylvania 2 or 3 days ago, Ion was just canceled.
Oh man, that's farther away, isn't it?
I mean, I saw the thing that Tim.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw the thing that Tim posted saying that he got approval. So I'm assuming it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, Ion. I don't know if it's a state thing or a county thing. Ion is definitely way bigger. I mean, last year they topped out. The last 2 years they topped out at over 4,000 players and over 5,000 people just on site. So that's going to run a higher risk of probably being like, yeah, we won't allow this many people to get together. But I can only hope that everything stays the course and that event happens because Tim has done an amazing job. The field itself and what they've done. I mean, the hyperball field is now turf.
Yeah, which we saw. Michael Moore is very thrilled about that, by the way. He is very thrilled about that. But yeah, no, actually, we're thinking about trying to get Tim on here to kind of hear from his perspective of like putting on ICC and like what it means, like playing pro, now a league owner, because he also has like a developmental league at the field as well that I saw.
Tim's been involved in a lot of stuff, and I would love to hear that, because it's one of those things where I kind of feel bad for him, because what he has built is turned into something that's so amazing, and he can't play. And Tim is such a competitor that it's like, I don't know if I could, like, I loved the idea, or I had the idea of trying to do it at Badlands for years, and it was just like, well, I don't know if I could do this because I want to play in it. Like, this would suck to run and like not be able to go out there and play. And Tim has watched this thing just blow up into this amazing event. He just has to deal with all the bullshit from all of his peers and people he can't stand complaining about refs and cheating. And it's like, what are you doing? Frank Connell, set up. Frank, get out of here, Frank. Like, the biggest cheater we all know.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about cheating. He has to go run and hide, and he can't. And he can't play either.
I can only imagine that. And he's probably sitting there like, dang, this is what we sounded like coming up from the ranks.
Well, yeah, that's what's one of those things too that just puts, into perspective of where you're at. Tim, man, what he has done and been able to do in his career and build it out from growing up and playing paintball to being involved with Philly and building that program out to what it was and making it successful, to running the All-American Paintball Park, to that going away. Smart Parts goes away. He goes back to school, gets all these degrees while playing professional paintball for a full season, then becomes back involved with GOG, DLX, Smart Parts, and helps build it out to where it's at now, and still travels the world and runs probably the most successful independent event out there in terms of tournament paintball that there is.
No other event sells out that fast.
No one, there's no other, aside from, you have to put World Cup in there because it's World Cup, but there's no other demand to play a tournament.
Yeah.
Second to, behind World Cup is ICC. And if it's not right there on par with it, because it draws everyone in. Anyone from, doesn't matter what division you're ranked, or what your background is in playing, you can play 10-man with your friends in the woods and hyperball in the Mounds Field.
Oh, I'm so pumped for it. I cannot wait for it.
God.
It's going to be the funniest picture ever. Seeing those, like, the 7 or 8 media guys on the team is like, so you guys take pictures of pretty much everybody else usually. And
you're going to know to run to your bunkers, right? And not run to like the sidelines to take pictures.
Oh gosh.
Maybe. I don't know.
Can you remind me when we get there?
I'll let you know.
It's gonna be a tough one.
If I'm about to get bunkered, I might just like whip out a camera from my back pocket and be like, hold on, don't shoot the photographer.
Here you go.
Yeah. I mean, you can't shoot me. It's fine. It's fine. Do you want pictures at NXL? No. You'll let it. You can wipe it. Just let me get it. Hit you once. I don't mind if you wipe it. That's fine. As long as I get to say I shot you, it works.
That works.
All right.
Hey, I'll make sure I have the camera so I catch it all.
Yes.
Bang. Oh. That's it. That's perfectly it.
Thank you so much, Nick. We appreciate you coming on once again. Thank you for having this talk with us. I'm glad we got to do this. Sorry we kept you up a bit later than we intended to. I think we're about on par with Stretch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't go to bed anytime soon, so you're good.
Good. You don't have your bedtime? Shoot, I think I'm past mine.
Yeah. This has been amazing. Thank you so much. Like Sam said, we really appreciate this, and we hope to continue this on. And if let us know and listen back to it. If you haven't listened to the other episode that we just released, definitely take a listen. We're planning on talking to some other cool and interesting people that don't really get too much of a voice out there to kind of tell their background story. So it should be a good time. Yeah, no, I love it. The more content, the better. And it's nice because not focusing on like, yeah, you play pro paintball. What's that like? Well, yeah. And, if you need help getting anyone and they're being a pain in the ass, let me know and I'll call them out and tell them not to be bitches. And they can come on and join you guys. Help us get Tim. Help us get Tim at ICC. We'll set it all up. I mean, there's more than enough media people there at ICC. So or you want to do it beforehand. So I was, I don't know why you're frozen, but I was thinking. I'm frozen because you said get Tim. I'm actually texting Tim right now. Oh, awesome. That's fantastic. I don't mess around, man.
Well, Zoom could not have chosen a better picture to freeze on.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely incredible. But I mean, Sam's going to ICC. I will also be at ICC. So if we could do it after
my face does look funny.
one day of playing, like a Friday night or Saturday night, that would be awesome. I mean, there's gonna be enough media guys with who we're staying with to set it all up and make it look good. So
okay,
if it's not crazy, obviously.
Yeah, if it's not crazy, I do not want to overload his workload with everything.
I would say that's probably not a good time.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Because we tried the first year we went as Go Sports, we tried to do it like the players thing, and it was pretty chaotic.
Okay, yeah, we can.
I would get Tim. I just text him. I would try and set up getting Tim as soon as possible to get him to talk about it. Because that's for one, if anything, too. Them confirming it's on, the more press he can get out there to pump it up.
100%. We could do that. We could definitely make that happen because I want it to happen as well. Like I've been missing it the past couple of years and just been mad at myself every year. I mean, my buddies on the Winstons have been killing it out there, and I love those guys. They're hilarious. Talk about a ragtag team.
That's what you need.
Let us let you go. Thank you so much. This has been a better conversation than I ever thought that it was going to be, and like you took a lot of these questions very straightforward and very very impressed.
Thanks, man.
Yes, shout out Die Paintball.
Shout out Ironman 2020
champions.
GI Finley hats.
Die
the whole gang.
Finley.
Everything.
Beard.
Yeah,
and the beard.
Yeah.
Weapons.
Oh, yeah. And anybody else? Are we missing anybody else in the?
Want like 5 minutes or so to just shout out?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Thanks though.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We hope you have a great night.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later.
Later, Gator.